Today, I'm going to show you 11 practical strategies that will keep you comfortable, fed, and safe when the grid goes down. No doom and gloom, just real solutions that actually work. Let me tell you something most people don't think about. When the power goes out, it's not just about sitting in the dark. Within hours, your food starts spoiling. Within a day, your toilet might not flush. Within 3 days, stores run out of supplies because their payment systems are down. This isn't fear-mongering. This is reality. And the good news is that with some knowledge and preparation, you can handle it better than 90% of your neighbors. Tip number 1, master multiple light sources. Here's what I learned back in 2015 during a week-long outage. Candles look romantic in movies, but they're actually your last choice for practical lighting. Why? Because they're a fire hazard. They produce minimal light, and they burn through wax faster than you'd think. Let me give you a better hierarchy. Your best option is solar-powered LED lights. I keep 6 of these around my property. During the day, they charge in the sun. At night, each one gives me 4 to 6 hours of bright, safe light. No fuel, no fire risk, no batteries to replace. The initial investment is maybe $60 for a good set, and they'll last you years. Next up, LED lanterns with rechargeable batteries. Here's the trick most people miss. Get ones that can charge via solar panels or hand crank. I have 3 of these, and during an extended outage, I rotate them. One is charging in the sun, one is in use, and one is on standby. This gives me continuous light without ever running out of power. Flashlights are essential, but here's where people make mistakes. They buy cheap ones that eat through batteries. Instead, invest in quality LED flashlights. A good one uses a fraction of the power and produces 3 times the light. I personally prefer the ones with multiple brightness settings. Why keep it on full blast when you're just walking to the bathroom? Now, propane lanterns. These are fantastic for lighting up a whole room, but you need proper ventilation. Never use them in a completely sealed space. I learned this the hard way when I woke up with a headache during a camping trip in 2013. Carbon monoxide is no joke. Use these in areas with airflow and always keep a carbon monoxide detector nearby, even if it's battery powered. And yes, candles have their place, but use them in holders, on stable surfaces, away from anything flammable, and never leave them unattended. I keep them as a backup to my backups, not as a primary light source. Tip number 2, temperature control without HVAC. Let's talk about staying comfortable when your heating and cooling system becomes a useless metal box. This is where understanding basic physics saves you. For heating, nothing beats a wood stove if you have the space for one. But here's what the manuals don't tell you. You need to have your wood supply ready before winter hits. Wet wood or freshly cut wood won't burn efficiently. I season my wood for at least 6 months, and I keep a full cord ready at all times. That's enough to heat my home for several weeks, even in cold weather. Don't have space for a wood stove? Propane heaters are your next best option. The key is getting ones designed for indoor use with oxygen depletion sensors. I use a Mr. Heater Buddy, and it's kept me comfortable through multiple outages. 1-pound propane canisters are convenient, but here's a pro tip. Get an adapter hose so you can connect to a 20-pound tank. It's more economical, and you won't run out as quickly. Now let's talk cooling, because heat kills more people during power outages than cold does. If you're in a hot climate, this is critical. Your house becomes an oven without AC, so you need to think strategically. First, understand that hot air rises. If you have a 2-story home, stay on the first floor during the day. Open windows on opposite sides of your home to create cross-ventilation. This isn't just opening random windows. You want to create a pathway for air to flow through. I open one window on the shady side and one on the opposite side, and I can feel the difference within minutes. Shade is your best friend. Close all blinds and curtains on sun-facing windows during the hottest part of the day. If you have time before an anticipated outage, hang wet sheets in doorways. As the water evaporates, it cools the air. It's called evaporative cooling, and it's been used for thousands of years in hot climates. Here's something I started doing in 2017 that changed everything for me. I keep a cooler filled with ice and a battery-powered fan. I position the fan so it blows over the ice. It's a makeshift air conditioner that drops the temperature in a small room by 10 to 15 degrees. When the ice melts, I use that cold water for drinking or cooling towels. Tip number 3, Cooking without power. You're not going to starve just because your electric stove doesn't work, but you do need to think ahead. I have 4 different cooking methods ready to go, and each one serves a different purpose. My primary method is a 2-burner propane camp stove. This thing is a workhorse. I can cook anything I normally make on my regular stove. Eggs, pasta, stir-fry, you name it. And a single 1-pound propane canister lasts me about 2 hours of cooking time. Do the math. If you cook for 30 minutes a day, 1 canister lasts you 4 days. Keep a case of 12, and you've got nearly 2 months of cooking fuel. But here's something most people overlook: a rocket stove. This ingenious device burns small twigs and sticks with incredible efficiency. I built mine for about $30 in materials, and it boils water in less than 10 minutes using just a handful of dry wood. The design creates a powerful updraft that burns fuel completely, producing minimal smoke. During an extended outage, this means I'm not dependent on propane. I can gather fuel from my yard. Solar ovens are phenomenal, but they require sunshine and patience. I've used mine to bake bread, cook stews, and even make casseroles. The temperature inside can reach 300 degrees on a sunny day. But here's the catch. You need 3 to 4 hours of good sunlight, and you can't use it on cloudy days or at night. That's why it's part of a system, not your only option. And never underestimate a good old-fashioned charcoal grill. I keep 2 large bags of charcoal stored in a dry place. With a grill, I can cook for a group, and the heat is consistent. Just remember that charcoal produces carbon monoxide, so always cook outside. Tip number 4, food preservation without refrigeration. Your refrigerator will keep food cold for about 4 hours after the power goes out, maybe 6 if you don't open it. Your freezer will last about 48 hours if it's full and you keep it closed. After that, you're on your own. This is where old-school preservation methods become your best friend. Canning is something I learned from my grandmother back in 2014, and it saved me thousands of dollars in wasted food over the years. You can preserve vegetables, fruits, meats, and even complete meals in jars. Once sealed properly, these jars last for years on the shelf. No electricity, no spoilage. I do a big canning session every fall, and those jars carry me through the winter. Here's the thing about canning. It's not difficult, but it is precise. You need the right equipment, the right process, and you need to follow safety guidelines. Improperly canned food can make you sick, but once you learn the process, it's like riding a bike. I can now process 40 pounds of tomatoes in an afternoon. Dehydrating is another game changer. You can dehydrate fruits, vegetables, herbs, and meats. Dehydrated food weighs almost nothing, takes up minimal space, and lasts for months or years if stored properly. I have a solar dehydrator I built for about $50 that works whenever the sun is shining. No electricity needed. Smoking meat is an art form, and it's one of the most effective preservation methods for protein. The smoke acts as a preservative, while the drying process removes moisture that bacteria need to grow. I've smoked fish, chicken, beef, and pork. Done right, smoked meat can last weeks without refrigeration. And here's something that surprised me when I first learned about it: the Zier pot. It's a traditional clay pot refrigerator that uses evaporative cooling. You place a smaller pot inside a larger one, fill the gap with sand, and keep the sand wet. As the water evaporates, it pulls heat away from the inner pot, keeping it cool. It's not as cold as a refrigerator, but it's cool enough to extend the life of vegetables and fruits by several days. By the way, because I know how overwhelming food security can feel when you're just starting out, I put together a free guide that breaks this down into actionable steps. It's called the $50 90-Day Food Supply Guide, and it shows you exactly how to build a serious food stockpile without breaking the bank. I'm talking specific brands, exact prices, and a shopping list you can use today. The guide includes 37 essential preparedness items most people never think about, plus emergency meals you can make with zero cooking fuel or electricity. There's even a section on that gas station snack that becomes incredibly valuable for bartering when things get tough. It's completely free, and I'll put the link in the description and pin it in the comments. This is something I personally use and recommend, and it complements everything we're talking about today. Grab it when you get a chance, and let's keep moving. Tip number 5, water collection and purification. Water is life. You can survive weeks without food, but only about 3 days without water. When the power goes out, water treatment plants stop working. Pumps stop pumping, and suddenly that tap that always had clean water becomes useless. Rainwater collection is your first line of defense. A simple rain barrel under your downspout can collect hundreds of gallons during a good storm. But here's what you need to know. First, flush systems. The first water that runs off your roof carries dirt, bird droppings, and debris. You don't want that in your drinking water. A first flush diverter automatically dumps the first few gallons and then starts collecting clean water. I have 3 55-gallon barrels connected to my gutters. In a good rain, all 3 fill up. That's 165 gallons of water. For drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene, one person needs about 1 gallon per day at minimum. So those barrels represent more than 5 months of water for one person, or nearly 2 months for a family of 3. But collection is only half the battle. That water needs to be purified before you drink it. Boiling is the gold standard. Bring water to a rolling boil for 1 minute. 3 minutes if you're above 6,000 feet elevation. This kills virtually everything: bacteria, viruses, parasites. The downside is it requires fuel and time. Chemical purification is faster. Household bleach works if it's unscented. 8 drops per gallon, mix it well, and let it sit for 30 minutes. The water should have a slight chlorine smell. If it doesn't, repeat the dose and wait another 15 minutes. I keep several bottles of unscented bleach specifically for this purpose. Water purification tablets are more convenient. Iodine or chlorine dioxide tablets drop into your water, and 30 minutes later, it's safe to drink. They're light, portable, and perfect for bug-out bags. But my favorite method is a gravity-fed water filter. These systems use ceramic or carbon filters to remove bacteria, parasites, and sediment. You pour water in the top, and clean water drips out the bottom. No pumping, no electricity, no chemicals. A good filter can purify thousands of gallons before it needs replacement. Here's a method most people don't know about: solar water disinfection. Clear plastic bottles filled with water and left in direct sunlight for 6 hours will kill most pathogens. The UV rays do the work. It's not perfect, but in a pinch, it's better than drinking contaminated water. Tip number 6: sanitation without running water. Let's talk about the thing nobody wants to discuss, but everyone needs to know. When the power goes out, water treatment stops. Sewage systems back up. And yes, your toilet stops working. This isn't glamorous, but it's critical. A composting toilet is the most sophisticated solution. These systems separate liquid from solid waste and use decomposition to break everything down into safe compost. There's no smell if set up correctly, and you never need to flush. I installed one in a cabin I use for off-grid getaways, and after getting past the mental adjustment, I realized it's actually more sanitary than a regular toilet. But most people aren't going to install a composting toilet in their home, so here's the practical solution: a bucket toilet with a seat attachment. Line it with heavy-duty garbage bags, and after each use, cover the waste with sawdust, peat moss, or wood shavings. This controls odor and starts the composting process. When the bag is about 1/3 full, tie it off and store it in a sealed container away from your living space. In a long-term situation, you bury it. For liquid waste, it's simpler. If you're worried about conserving water, adopt the camping rule. If it's yellow, let it mellow. You don't need to flush every time. And when you do flush, you only need a gallon or 2 of water poured directly into the bowl. It doesn't need to come from the tank. Personal hygiene becomes challenging without running water, but it's not impossible. Wet wipes are fantastic for quick cleanups. I buy the bulk packs because they're cheaper, and I store them in sealed containers so they don't dry out. Hand sanitizer kills bacteria when soap and water aren't available. Look for ones with at least 60% alcohol content. No Rinse Body Wash is a product I discovered during a camping trip in 2016, and it's incredible. You apply it, wipe it off with a towel, and you're clean. No water needed. It's perfect for a quick refresh when you can't take a full shower. But here's my favorite low-tech solution: a solar shower. It's a black bag that you fill with water and leave in the sun. The water heats up, and you hang it from a tree or your porch. Gravity does the work. It's not a hot shower from your bathroom, but after a few days without bathing, it feels like luxury. Tip number 7. Communication without the internet. When the power goes out, your smartphone becomes a very expensive paperweight once the battery dies. Cell towers have backup power, but that only lasts a few hours to a couple of days. After that, you're cut off from the digital world. So how do you stay informed and connected? A hand crank emergency radio is non-negotiable. These devices receive AM, FM, and NOAA weather bands. The hand crank means you never need batteries. 30 seconds of cranking gives you 10 to 15 minutes of radio time. I keep one in my emergency kit and another in my vehicle. When disaster strikes, emergency broadcasts go out over these channels. This is how you learn about evacuation orders, weather updates, and emergency services locations. Two-way radios create your own communication network. If you're coordinating with family members or neighbors, these are invaluable. Most consumer models have a range of 2 to 5 miles in open terrain, less in urban areas with buildings. Here's the key. Agree on a channel and check-in schedule beforehand. Otherwise, everyone's trying to reach each other at random times. CB radios have longer range and can connect you with other people in your area. During emergencies, CB Channel 9 is monitored for emergency communications. I've heard stories of people using CBs to call for help when phone lines were down. Ham radio is the ultimate communication tool for preparedness, but it requires a license. With the right equipment and knowledge, you can communicate across the country or even around the world. I got my ham radio license in 2018, and it's opened up a whole community of prepared individuals who share information and support each other. Don't forget about low-tech communication methods. If you need the signal for help, a mirror can be seen from miles on a sunny day. 3 whistle blasts is the universal distress signal, and signal flares are visible day and night, though they're one-time use, so save them for genuine emergencies. Tip number 8. Navigation and timekeeping without technology. Your phone is your clock, your alarm, your calendar, and your GPS. When it dies, you lose all of that. Time to dust off some old-school skills. First, get analog clocks and watches. Wind-up alarm clocks don't need batteries. Mechanical watches keep ticking. I wear an automatic watch that winds itself as I move throughout the day. I never worry about batteries. For navigation, paper maps are essential. I keep road maps of my state and surrounding states in my vehicle. In my home, I have topographical maps of my area. During an extended outage, if you need to travel, you can't rely on GPS. Learn to read maps before you need to. Understand the legend, the scale, and how to orient the map to your surroundings. A compass is your backup to the map. A basic orienteering compass costs about $15 and will last forever. Learn the basics, finding north, taking a bearing, following a heading. This isn't complicated stuff, but it requires practice. Here's something I learned from an old-timer back in 2013. Natural navigation. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. At noon, it's roughly south if you're in the northern hemisphere. Moss tends to grow on the north side of trees in the northern hemisphere because it's shadier. These aren't perfect methods, but they can orient you if you're lost. Tip number 9. Financial management without digital access. When the power goes out, ATMs stop working. Credit card readers don't function. Online banking is inaccessible. Suddenly, cash becomes king. But how much cash should you keep on hand? I follow the 1-month rule. Calculate your essential expenses for 1 month: food, fuel, medications, and critical supplies. Keep that amount in cash in a secure location in your home. For most people, that's somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000. Divide it into different denominations. Small bills are important because in a crisis, nobody will have change for a $100 bill. But cash isn't the only thing with value. Think about barter items. What do people need that you can provide or trade? In my area, during extended outages, I've seen people trade for batteries, propane canisters, water purification tablets, and even toilet paper. One time during a winter storm in 2019, someone traded me a dozen eggs for a bundle of firewood. Both of us came out better. Non-perishable food has barter value, so do basic medications like pain relievers and cold medicine. Fuel, whether it's gasoline, propane, or kerosene, becomes incredibly valuable. Tobacco and alcohol are controversial, but they have high barter value for those who use them. Here's something most people don't think about: skills as currency. If you know how to fix things, purify water, or start fires, that knowledge has value. You can trade your labor and expertise for goods you need. Tip number 10. Security without electronic systems. Your alarm system stops working when the power goes out. Your electric garage door won't open. Your video doorbell is useless. This is when your home is most vulnerable, and you need to think about physical security. First, harden your entry points. Solid core doors with quality deadbolts are your first line of defense. I installed 3-inch screws in all my door hinges and strike plates. That makes it much harder to kick in a door. Window locks should be checked and reinforced. Ground floor windows can be secured with dowels in the tracks so they can't be opened from the outside even if the lock is defeated. Motion-activated lights won't work without power, but you can set up tripwire alarms. These are simple mechanical devices that make noise when someone walks through an invisible wire. I have several around my property perimeter. They're not sophisticated, but they alert me if someone's approaching. Dogs are the oldest security system in the world, and they don't need electricity. A barking dog is a massive deterrent. Even a small dog that makes noise serves the purpose. Establish a neighborhood watch network. Get to know your neighbors before an emergency. During an outage, people can take shifts watching the street. There's security in numbers, and coordinated neighbors can protect each other far better than individuals alone. Keep emergency lighting near your bedside. If something happens in the night, you need immediate access to light. A flashlight, headlamp, or even a glow stick can make the difference between responding effectively and stumbling around in the dark. Tip number 11. Mental and emotional resilience. Here's what they don't tell you about disasters. The psychological toll is often harder than the physical challenges. Boredom, stress, fear, and uncertainty can break down your mental health faster than hunger or cold. This is where mental preparedness becomes survival. Entertainment without electricity isn't just about passing time, it's about maintaining hope and normalcy. Books are obvious, but think beyond that. Board games bring people together. Playing cards can entertain for hours. Puzzles give your mind something to focus on besides worry. I keep a guitar even though I'm not great at playing it. Music is powerful for morale. Singing, even just humming, releases endorphins and reduces stress. During a 2-week outage in 2020, my family did a song circle every evening. It sounds cheesy, but it kept our spirits up. Journaling helps process emotions and document what's happening. During stressful times, writing down your thoughts and experiences can be therapeutic. It also creates a record of what worked and what didn't for future reference. Maintain routines as much as possible. Wake up at the same time. Eat meals on schedule. Do productive tasks during the day. This structure provides psychological stability when everything else feels chaotic. Physical activity is crucial. Without power, you're probably doing more physical work anyway, but intentional exercise reduces stress and improves sleep. Even simple bodyweight exercises or walks can make a huge difference in your mental state. Community connection matters more than anything. Check on neighbors, especially elderly or vulnerable people. Share resources. Tell stories. Human connection is what gets us through hard times. We're social creatures, and isolation during a crisis amplifies every other stress. Here's something I've learned over 13 years of preparing. The people who do best in emergencies aren't the ones with the most gear. They're the ones with the right mindset. Flexibility, creativity, and a positive attitude will carry you further than any piece of equipment. Bringing it all together. Living without electricity isn't about going back to the Stone Age. It's about having redundant systems and the knowledge to adapt. Every tip I've shared today builds on the others. Light helps you cook safely. Clean water keeps you healthy. Good sanitation prevents disease. Communication connects you with help and information. And mental resilience ties it all together. The key is starting now. Don't wait until the power goes out to figure this stuff out. Test your equipment, practice these skills, make it a family activity. My kids know how to light a propane lantern, purify water, and cook on a camp stove. That knowledge gives them confidence and takes the fear out of potential disasters. Start small. Pick one tip from today and implement it this week. Maybe it's buying a hand crank radio. Maybe it's filling a few water barrels. Maybe it's just having a conversation with your family about what you'd do if the power went out for a week. Small steps compound into serious preparedness. And remember that free guide I mentioned earlier? If you haven't grabbed it yet, the link is in the description and pinned in the comments. It walks you through building a 90-day food supply for just $50. That includes the exact shopping list, storage strategies that work in any home or apartment, and emergency meal plans you can use with zero electricity. It's the perfect complement to what we talked about today, and it's completely free. I put it together because I remember feeling overwhelmed when I first started prepping back in 2012, and I wanted to give people a simple starting point that actually works. The truth is, we live in an increasingly fragile system. Our power grid is aging, extreme weather is becoming more common, cyber threats are real. But here's the good news. You don't need to be a survivalist living in a bunker to handle these challenges. You just need to be informed, prepared, and willing to learn. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells YouTube to share this video with more people who need this information. Drop a comment below and let me know which tip you're going to implement first, or share your own experiences with power outages. I read every comment and I love hearing from you. Make sure you're subscribed to Zach of All Trades because I put out videos like this every week. We cover food storage, water purification, emergency shelters, first aid, and everything else you need to be ready for whatever comes your way. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. Your family, your friends, your neighbors. Preparedness isn't just about saving yourself. It's about building resilient communities where people take care of each other. The power might go out someday, but you're going to be ready. You've got the knowledge. Now you just need to take action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.